A little project I'd like to do. I bought this Chinese small 100mm supposedly precision vice from Arc Eurotrade a while back. Got it all fitted successfully. It comes with two holes, M8 tapped in the back of the fixed jaw, if you like. And I want to make a depth stop, really. That's my aim. And I've looked on YouTube and there's many different designs, and they all have their own merits, and you know, a lot of them tend to make a block that fits on the back and fix that and then mount everything from that. I didn't really want to do that because if I wind my Y axis across, I can wind it to right just about up to the dovetail on the knee, and I want to be able to keep that. I don't want to pack something behind there that would stop me doing that. So that ruled out fixing anything to the back. So there's an M8 thread in the side, both the left and the right hand side. In fact, there's tap holes all over the thing, and it's quite handy for doing obviously things like this. So I don't know, I've already marked out roughly on a piece of block. Do I machine a piece of this edge of this away to put a step in there, so that'll fit back because the jaw sticks out proud, and bolt that to there and mill a bit of an arc on it so that I can slacken it and wind it up out of the way, or obviously take it off completely and then bore through that and put a clamping action, which I've seen many do, and then you've just got an adjustable rod to adjust in and out. Don't know. Or do I make something that screws into there, either that size or bigger, with a turn down thread to M8 on the end, a beefy piece of bar maybe, excuse me, then this could swivel up and down on it. I hope you can see that. And then another rod in there, and then you'd be able to slide it backwards and forwards. I don't know if I'd ever need that much, really. I'm sure just a rod in there would do. I don't know, this is just the beginning of it, and I've got to do some thinking. I'm trying to do it with what materials I've got without having to order any more. That's the beginning of it. Let's see where we go. I'll come back when I've decided. I've decided I'm going to mill that little piece of metal away there so that fits flat back instead of that. It's going to have a slot in it so that I can have it forward or back. I can move it so that the rod that's in it can be back towards the jaw or out here, and it'll adjust in and out. So I need to slot that, but it needs to be a counterbore type slot so that that is flush, which should leave enough strength on it, I think. But screwing that in, and it only goes in so far, albeit it's drilled quite deep. It just hasn't been tapped. It's that deep is the hole. It's more than the thread. I can only get that screwed in halfway, so I'm going to run a tap in. It's a plug tap, and just to see where I go. Yeah, it's cutting alright, I can feel it. Just don't mean they've probably run the first tap through and not put a plug tap through when it's been made. Put light on. It's getting a little lumpy. Not one of those spraying tap. It is a mate, so it's quite strong, but we don't want to go too far. Yeah, lovely. The time I've milled a little bit off there, that'll still go. Yeah, it'll be fine. So I want slotting, cutting, counterboring to take the full length of the slot, obviously, to take the head of this bolt, and it'll want a washer behind it of a similar size to seat on, so it's going to be reliable. Okay, right, that's as far as I've got. At least I know what I'm doing. Probably cut this down, and I've got two machine handles. I don't know which one to use. That one is the nicest, and it actually is quite strong. The resin bonded them. I've broke a couple of them, others have split. Although what I'm going to grip here should be fine. The only problem is the width of that is slightly thicker than the width of the material, which means if that's clamped onto there and I'm coming in from the end of it here, the side of it is going to bind on the jaw, the moving jaw, whereas that one is much thinner and that wouldn't. So suppose the choice would be that one, or come off a little bit with the drill. Don't go centre with a pinch hole, come off centre, but that makes it look tacky. So it needs to be centre, so it's going to have to be that. Yeah, it makes a lot of difference with a bit of WD-40 on there. I don't know. Just tap that in. These aren't new milling cutters. It's okay that. Yeah, this cutter's a two-float. It's actually a Clarkson threaded one. I've just held it in a normal collet because I was just doing a bit of alley. Had I been doing anything angry with it, I would have taken out this ER25 and I'd have put in the big Clarkson with the collets in. But no need for that. Okay, next job is to mill a piece down there off, and we shall come back. I need to know what this step is so that I can mill that piece out for it. Let's, So I need to cut 80 thou off that slice. I'll set it all up. Sorry, lost a bit of footage there. Flat battery. I want to plug. It's a little GoPro Hero 5. It's a lovely little camera, but I have to keep plugging it in to charge it. Because the battery had gone flat. Right, work that out. See if it fits. Okay, blooper. I've cut it wrong way. Move camera so you can see. So, I've cut that out for this clearance. Wrong way. You stupid fart. Can we save it? Yeah, we can, because all I got to do is carry on cutting that until I cut to the where I wanted to end of that bolt hole, which were about there. So I'll remark it and do that. What an idiot. At least I've got that clearance I wanted there. Lovely. Lovely but not. I won't swear at myself. Okay. So that'll slide backwards and forwards. Where are we? Bit of rod. That idea rod will be about there, and if I slide it forwards, it'll be there. Is that right? No, I can go right back to there. Sorry. Rod will be hang on. There, and I can move it as far as that, so that's what it'll have, the rod. There's enough in it, and in and out, because I mean that there would be sort of a piece of good part, sort of that wide, still at the centre of it, so it should be alright. Okay, it's coming okay. So next job, probably cut the slot in that and counterbore it, because if I knacker that up, job's done in it. And that's got some hammer rash on it, so that's going to want facing off right carefully. Plenty to do. So that's one way of centering your rotary table. Not the most accurate in the world, and it's never going to be to the thou. Two MT2s, both got points on, both pretty accurate. Of course, there's obviously a much nicer and better and more accurate way than that, which we're going to do. So I'll knock that off, and I'll rig up this centre finder thing I've got, and we'll have another go. Right, so that is how central it was, using the 2-point method of 2MT2 centres, bringing them together. That's how accurate it was. Obviously not that good, is it? Okay, so let's have a play. Getting bigger. This is Y. And this is X. That's got to be as good as I can get, surely. I'm happy with that. All I'm doing is making a radius on a chunk of metal. Aluminium at that. Otherwise that's dead centre. So if I hit some... some zeros, Z don't matter. Hit it anyway. So that's absolute zero in the centre of that item. So from there I can work any way I want, but I know I can always go back to centre. I might do a little review on this. This is a new rotary table I bought. I got it from Amazon. I looked on eBay, I looked on various tool suppliers. Cheapest I could find were around 160, 158, 160. And they seemed okay, but don't know, this has got everything going for it. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is. The dial round here has been done into the casting. It's not just a stick-on label. And when it says 0 there, it's 0 here, which I've already done. I won't do it again just now, but because I'll do a review. But yeah, crackle finish, nice little table, smoothing operation. You can knock it in and out of mesh, so you can grab table and rotate the table. It's a nice thing. It's all right for money. It were 127 quid, and it came from Germany, which made me think it was German made. But on the box it says made in China. So there we go. But there was no import duty or anything to pay on it. Right, I'll knock this off, get all set up for what I'm going to do, and we'll have a go. Well, I've cocked up. I've done this on the rotary table. Let's see it there better. And I thought my GoPro were running, and I'd forgot to plug the lead in, and the battery had gone flat. So I actually did this, and I've not shown it, and I wanted to. it cut really easy and it was really good. However, I did make a bit of a mess, because what I did was I measured this with mics and I put a punch mark in the centre, and then I put a centre in the MT2 taper, and I brought the quill down until it sat in that centre, and that gave me my absolute centre. And when I've cut it, this side's really good, but this side's not. It's cut into it, and I must have got myself out like 0.5 millimetre. So, and the other thing was, I didn't square this rotary table up how it should have been squared up. Or I put the thing on, didn't realise you can unratchet it, move the table around manually, and I didn't square it to the bed. So now I've squared it to the bed and I've tightened it up. I'll bring this camera a little bit closer. So what I need to do now is I need to unlock it, which is undo the drive to it and turn the table to 0. And then drive this back and then bring this forward, I'm thinking, to 0. That's going to be awkward. I'm driving table now. Must be a right increment past, but for what I'm going to do, I think that's good enough. So what am I going to do next? I'm probably going to curl this edge as well, but I want to put in, where is it, a clamp bolt. I've seen what others have done, and they've got the rod. This is going to be like this on the vise, and then there's the rod that will go in and out. And most people drill a hole and put a pinch bolt in, little Allen screw or whatever, and lock it on. I don't know. Every time you lock it on there, you're probably going to mark that shaft a little bit. My idea was to split it, was to drill the hole, ream it for the rod, and then split it and put a clamp bolt underneath that would be out of the way to lock it. That way you're not actually doing any damage to the rod, and you adjust it 1,000 times and you're not going to mark the rod. But of course, if I do that, then I shouldn't curl this bottom, should I? Should I just curl the top so it looks okay, but then when my thread comes through, I'm going to have less thread before it pokes its head through. So I suppose it's telling me all I need to do really with that is I need to go over with that tool I've got, that little edging tool, that chamfer, and chamfer it all, and don't go any further with that. I just thought it'd look nice, but and then I've got to, from that hole, that pip centre pop, I've got to slot that so this thing's adjustable backwards and forwards. And of course, when I'm not using it, slacken the bolt, move it over and drop it down the back of the vise when it's not in use, and just take the rod out. That's me all singing plan. But I just thought I'd show that bit, yeah, and that unfortunate there. Amateur. Right, got it. I used the trusty old P240 wet and dry paper for it, and I just held it and kept sort of doing that. But yeah, it's got rid of that mark. That's gone. So we're back to where we were originally. There's some marks in this. I could go flat out on paper like that, with the idea of rubbing them out, but whether how deep they are, I don't know. They might be less deep than they look. And that's my fault. Using that, tapping it in, copper hammer. Copper's harder than alley. Should have used a plastic one, and I have got a plastic faced one. but my own fault, I was just tapping it down. We'll get that out. We'll drill for the rod, and we need to cut the slot. Still a bit of work on it, we're getting there. It's only a cheap and nasty thing. Okay, to square this up, I've put a little dial indicator into the AR25 collet holder. I've brought it up to 0, so let's see where we are with that. It's quite a way out. Camera. Okay. Good. What, 375? Can't get to my hand wheels. Wait for the kick. There. 0. Go in this side. Bring it back. Kick. Y half. I think that's correct now. 14.425. So if I bring that back to 0, bummer. Got you. Technically that should be dead centre of that. Does it look it? It does. I'll put a spotting drill in there and spot that off. That gives me my centre, bang on. That measures 7.94 millimetres, and this is an 8mm reamer. But I've tried measuring across the blades and it's actually just over, and they're just the cheap import ones, but we're going to give it a go. It's not that important to do it like this, but I'm doing it just because I can. Already got off centre a little bit. I didn't realise explain what happened. I was looking at using this rod, which will slide in and out, and then a slot there and a clamp, and it worked out that with this rod being 8mm, it wasn't giving me enough meat left, because I've got to drill and tap that through there, and it just didn't leave me enough, so I've moved it over slightly. It's not ruined, but it's going to have a mark in it. But I'm not remaking it. Now I'm led to believe you run these slowly. install it out. I have to come up. See what's happened with that. Just knock a bird off it. So I've used the edge finder and I've found the centre and I've bored the hole. In fact, I'll lift this camera up a bit. Look for a better view. And I've bored that, that's 8mm. I haven't reamed it. That's only the holding bolt that's going to hold it in the side of the vise. My aim, what I'm after doing, is I've got an outside radius cutter. I've got a set of them. Don't know how good they are. They're supposed to be high speed steel, but they weren't expensive. So this is the outside piece. The back's where it clamps up to the vise. So that wants to stay square. But this, I'd like to make it round with that. I just thought it might look nice. So I've got some anodising gears come today as well, so I might have a go at doing some anodising, but it won't be till this is finished and cleaned up. It'll probably be a few days time anyway, because I've got to get sort of battery charger out and different baths for the different things for the caustic and one thing and another. So yeah, that's plan is to that. So what I'd realised is I'd taken this out and I've put it back and I realised I can't find centre. I need to find a dead centre of this table and get that dead centre and parallel with this set to 0, so I can do the sweep and cut that. I can cut the lengths afterwards in the vise, but I can't do that in the vise. So I'm obviously going to use the rotary table. So I'm just trying to work out how to get that dead centre, because that's an MT2 in there. So it's no good me dropping an 8mm drill down there, because that's not going to help me. I'd need a boss that were 8mm centre and I'd fit an MT2 hole. So I'm just trying to work that out in my head at the moment. So we'll come back when we get a bit further. That's the radiusing tool. Can't remember that lights affecting it all. I've done this round here, so my next job is to take it out and put that, take this off and put my vise back on, and then I can parallel that up and do the sides. think I need to slit this now, and if it won't clamp, I'll have to slit it past it to weaken it, but it might do with that, so I need to get that in and get a slitting saw and slit it. Don't know if you can see this, but I bought a stack of these second hand on Fleabay a long time ago, and I wasn't hopeful they'd be any good, and they're all absolutely beautiful. If you can see that, I don't know whether you can make anything of that, because that to me it don't mean out, but that says Wardson, and there's like a fingerprint round it, and then that says 1/8 pitch, and that says 2 3/4 inch by 040, so is it 40 thou x1. I've done a bit of cutting with that and it's been really good, and it's pretty accurate. We'll give it a spin and see, because slitting saws are a sod out there for running out and only cutting on a small area. Taking a bit of setting up this camera. There's got all sorts of brackets fastened to the quill stop. Give that a spin and see what it looks like. That looks wobbly to me. It does look wobbly, it don't look good. I have to probably try and... I don't know though. Probably try it on a piece of metal first. So, I've got to slit this through here. So, I'm going to clamp that. Got to get a centre then from the centre of that, which I know is 8mm, then half it. I'll come back when I've got all this set up, because otherwise you're going to be watching me do this and it's going to take me forever. I have to think a lot these days. As usual, like I said, I have to think a lot these days. Have I jumping the gun? I'm going too far too quick. I've got this sort of thing that's going to screw into there and be the pinch for the bar. That's got to be drilled and tapped. Obviously that first half's got to be clearance, and the second half, without breaking through, has got to be the thread. Does that want drilling before that's slotted, or do you slot that first then drill it? I don't know. I'm not sure. That still needs machining off that end. Not sure. The things you do just to put a YouTube video up. Give you some idea where we are here. So we've got a little clamp clamped on the quill stop, and then we've got one of these fancy arms where you tighten that up and it locks that. So that's one arm. That's connected to a second arm and that's got the little GoPro attached to it, and that's just so that we can get a line of sight down to the slitting saw where we're going to do that cut. So yeah, there's quite a bit of work involved in them. It's not a simple setup as what you'd imagine. Done any fancy measuring, there's no point. It's good enough. Because this piece was stepped, I've had to put a little bit of packing behind there, put some stainless packing in, and I put a parallel under there, and I sat it down on it and tightened it up. But I've taken the parallel back out, don't need it in, I'm cross-cutting, I'm not pressing down. So we're going to have a little go at cutting that, because that blade, I thought I've got some different holders and I'm wondering if that's the different holder. Oh, maybe. You know what? I'm going to turn this off and then put it back on in a minute. I'm going to put that further into the collet because that isn't far in the collet. I wonder if there's a little bit of movement in that. Although that shaft looks to be spinning pretty good, but the blade is wandering. I'll come back in a minute. Going through to full depth with the tapping size drill first, then I'll go through the top little bit here with the clearance drill. I've set the quill strap now, so I shouldn't fall all the way through. This is where it'd be handy to have all different size milling cutters. I've got some smaller ones because I bet an M6 is going to be tight on that. This is a radius cutter. So it goes like that, so that. And that for definite. So can't do it. That one's chopping down, it's too long. Need to cut that down. And I don't just clamp it with the back bit because it could vibrate, couldn't it? So I'll come back in a second. Just clutching there, but yeah, that end one's cleaning up, isn't it? I don't think I'm going to do bottom because that's where the where that bites on it, in the bottom, so I've had to cut this deeper as well to grab, because it won't grab. You see, I'm not in line, I'm a bit out, but it isn't that bad. It's only a first attempt. We'll have to make it again and make a proper nice job. I'm just getting my head around it, shaping stuff. I've never used these radius bits before. They're quite good. Not a full set of them. I could have probably gone up in size and used something a bit bigger, but they're the different ones. You can see them. They go right up to a huge one. But first off I tried dinky one, then next one, and I've just used that one. I don't know how long they'll last. They weren't expensive and they're imported, so I don't know how long they'll last. Right, so this is the little depth stop I'm going to make. First job, got to line this thing up in lathe. Turn it all the way. What's first job? We're to turn that down to 8mm, face that off, turn that down to 8mm. But do I need a centre in there? Because I'm not going to go right to end. That wants to be out a bit. About one of my little. That'd be ideal. There's no way I can turn without a centre in there because it'll push it out. That or that. I suppose any one of these. So I've got that one. That one. Anybody that's got a Myford ML or a Super 7, when you put the MT2 centres in, they won't always eject because they're not long enough. With that, I drilled it. I mean, it's off centre, but it don't matter. I've drilled it and screwed a screw in and Loctited it in. That one, I got it hot to try and melt it enough. To soften enough to drill it, and I still couldn't drill it. So there were a little pipping end. So that's had a piece super glued in, a piece of welding rod, just enough to eject it when you wind it back, because it's a bit of a nightmare when you're trying to get centres out that you've braid in or pushed in. So that's an half centre. So do I use that? Put that like that. Then I can get in with tool. It's a bit of a blunt, mundane thing. Or would I maybe be alright with that? Probably would. First thing to do would be, without that in, to face this off. I'm starting them with a blank canvas, aren't I? I'm not taking a lot of material off at the time, but there's quite a bit of stick out here, and it's aluminium. I just do not want it to come flying out of them 3 jaws. do that now. I want to be bigger the bearings up, do I? Seems okay. My little favourite is this one. I don't know why. Shouldn't have favourites, should we? Yeah, I'm still going to have the same problem, I think. It's my own fault. It's this bracket for the DRO that gets in my way sometimes. And there you go, I'm right up to it there. It's in my way. Maybe that one. Got to get this right down to 8 mil so the lot can come off there. The doctor ordered. Actually, it's going to want a little smidging off, just a little bit tight. Nearly there though. It's the idea that that'll go through there. That one's whittling down, it's too big. Don't want it that big, do we? On there, it wants to be smaller, neater. Maybe half that size. Anybody ever wants to make these spacers, just a bit of nylon, Delrin, and them little cheap magnets, just counterboard some little holes and super glue them in, and then they'll just stick. They're handy. I did two, I've got a thicker one as well. They're not best of quality, but it does the job. Okay, so we've got that. So now I need to dress sides of this up and nail it, face it. So I'll get it all set up and come back. Come up a bit. That's in comparison to the other one. Not like this, I mean, get your hand. Not very good at all. If we don't want to use it, we'll select that bolt, swing it right across, right over and down, and it'll be out of the way. Might have to set that out. I'll just take the thing off. Okay, we shall carry on. Yeah, that's done it. I suppose I could do a filing head off that so it's a flat little button. I didn't have what else. I thought I had some pieces of brass that I could have threaded, but I didn't. Okay, we're getting there.
Just a bit to add on actually, because this is my phone I'm using. I had my GoPro clamped on the quill stop here, because every time I used the handle and took the quill up and down, the thing come down and bashed on here on fine feed. So I've taken it off and I made a little bracket. Well, it ain't actually, it's part of the Mondeo wiper motor arm that I'd just thrown in the drawer when I did this X-axis power feed, and that's just one of the bolts that holds the head on. And there's like a ball on the end of it, and I've clamped onto that. So now I've got it like that, which is a lot better because it doesn't move. And I don't think it's catching as much vibration, because it did vibrate a lot, as you'll see on the earlier videos. When I had it clamped on here, it picked all the rattle and it made everything sound worse than it is. And now it's not so bad with that. I'm hoping I can get some better videos. Yeah, I'm waiting for that M6, M8, sorry. Ooh, don't you go under there, never see it again. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that to come now. I think maybe tomorrow I'll start and have a go at cleaning, polishing this up and doing some anodizing. See where we go with that. I think I've got all the stuff I needed. I'm waiting for a fish tank heater to come in, and what else? A fish tank heater, a timer, which I've got for timing the dye. I've got a little stove, got a lot of stuff here, all stuff I need to do it, all there waiting to go. So I got a nice little timer, a little cheaper thing, it's a clock, and a timer as well, time up or time down, and it had a little magnetic strip on the back which is stuck on there now. It just kept falling off, so I've used some of them rare earth magnets and I've super glued them on back, just letting them go off. Probably won't touch it now again till tomorrow, but a big stack of them magnets there, and they're great, strong as hell. Okay.